Hey, I wanted to share something with you. Can virtual screens replace physical monitors? Now, I used to have these big screens in my studio, but I moved and I travel a lot, so physical screens is not an option. So I tried a few solutions and I nailed it down to this, the Meta Quest 3. So first of all, I'm going to put it on, turn it on, and now I'm gonna rock one of these bad boys. It's a additional battery. So I'm just gonna put it in. Okay, so now I'm connected and I can use something like a controller. Actually, I have two controllers, but I can also use my hands. So right now you can't see it, but I'm just closing Windows and I'm going to connect with my app called Virtual Desktop. Well, when I say my app, it's not my app, but you know what I mean. So let me start Virtual Desktop. And there you go. So this is what I see. So in front of me, you see the main window. And then as usual, I can just switch screens here on my Mac. For example, if I want to work on a website, I can do it from here. Here on the left, I've put another screen with my notes. And then on the right-hand side, I have another screen with research, just a browser. Now I can change the size of these screens, of course. I can have vertical layout, but I kind of like this layout. Simple, but it works for me. Now here at the bottom, you can see a portal where I actually see my computer keyboard. Actually, it changed while I was doing this. But you can also set your own custom portals. But it gets better than this. And for this, I'm going to use the controllers. So let me open the menu here. And I will go to environments. And as you can see, I can change the environment. So here, one click, you see it's a different sky. Here, I'm in a home cinema, home theater. This is in a dark cinema, auditorium. Now look at this, working on a website in a giant cinema screen. That's awesome. Next, we have the computer room. So that feels more like the real thing, but of course I would have to rearrange my layout. Next, we have the modern apartment. And now if I turn around, you can see we are in a very nice and modern apartment and with things happening outside. Now, this is the same version, but in the evening. So once again, let me show you. Then we have the night version. Awesome. Next, we have the gaming room. That's one of my favorites. Even if I'm not gaming and just working, this is one of my favorites. It really feels like I'm in the gaming room, except for the screen being in the middle of the desktop tower. But you get my point. I would just have to rearrange this layout, but this looks really gorgeous. Next, we have the personal theater. Once again, huge screen, and the first class in an aircraft. Now, take a look at this. I can look outside the window. I don't know if you can see here. We can see the engine. Now, I have this screen that's in the middle, so, but let me remove it. I don't know if you can see. Here we can see like the clouds and the engine. So here I am back in my first class. Let me put this screen back. And then we have pass-through. All right, so pass-through is also one of my favorites just because I can actually see my environment. So let me rearrange the screens here. And there you go. So it's really awesome. I have to make sure, because if I use the controller, it acts as a mouse. So I have to make sure it doesn't point where I don't want it to point. But after a little while, it goes idle and it just disappears. So here with the pass-through mode, I can really see my environment and it makes it easier to work. I can even grab my coffee, but the issue is with this type of headset, I can't really drink. But you know me, I have a solution for everything. So here it is. All I need is a nice little straw. And then I can sip my coffee. While working in VR. Now, this is my favorite way to spawn virtual screens. As you can see, they are huge and I can make it even bigger. But it's not the only way I can actually work in virtual reality. Another way is an app called Immerse, which is completely free, by the way. There's a premium version, but with the free version, you get up to 3 screens. And it's more like a social environment. You can work with people around you, or you can also work alone. Sometimes I like to feel like I'm in a cafe or something, and I'm just gonna pop that app. Let me show you. But first, I need to close Virtual Desktop. So I'm just gonna hit quit. Now I started the companion app on my MacBook, which by the way was the same for Virtual Desktop. There is a streamer app that you need to start on your computer for this to work. And then I'm gonna scroll until I find this one, Immersed. So now here I loaded an environment, and if I look down, you can see I spawned a portal so I can see my keyboard. Now here I have a menu, so let me just hide the screens. And you can see there in the background, you see someone, and that's a real person using virtual reality. Now it's pretty empty today, but sometimes you can find like 5, 10 people, even more. And you can also spawn different environments. You can mute yourself, you can go into do not disturb mode if you don't want to be disturbed. But if you want to socialize, you can just talk to people. And if you want to change environment, just open your menu. You can go to public, or you can go to my room. My room, you have some environments where it's just you. But here I'm going to go to public. And let's go to the cafe. All right. And now, as you can see, I'm in a cafe environment. It's pretty empty today, but you get the point. And if I want to work, I can just hit show screens, and then I can start working. I have my 3 monitors set up, the left, the middle, and one on the right. Once again, I can change the layout if I want to, and I get 3 screens in the free version. The premium version comes with 5 screens, I think, but 3 is more than enough for me. All right, so let's close this. So the first 2 methods were with software, one with Virtual Desktop app and the other one with the Immersed app. But if I wanted, I could also use a physical device to link my laptop to my headset. Something like this. It's a capture card, and then I would need an extension cord. Actually, it's an HDMI capture card. And with this method, the advantage is that there's virtually no lag. Even with the software version, there is very minimal lag, especially because right now I'm connected with an Ethernet cable. If you just use Wi-Fi, you might have a little bit of lag, and depending on what you do, for example, if you're doing video editing where each frame counts, you might see a little bit of lag. But even so, with Immersed and even with Virtual Desktop, I have virtually no lag. Now, if you start gaming, that might be a different thing. Whereas with the physical solution that I just presented to you, the capture card, the lag is virtually non-existent. You can even game with this. But the drawback is that with that solution, you are physically tethered to your laptop with a cable. And also, you only get 1 screen instead of 3. But hey, depending on the use case, you might prefer one solution or the other. Right now, when I just want to work alone, Virtual Desktop is my favorite solution. And if I want to work in a social environment, I like to use the Immersed app. Now, actually, there are a few more solutions than that. And if you're interested, just let me know. I might create a video about it. But these are the main solutions that I'm using currently. So what about you? Do you use virtual reality or mixed reality to spawn some screens and replace your physical monitors? Just let me know, I'd be interested to know. Now, I was gonna take this off to do the outro, but then you will see all the big marks on my face, which is one of the drawbacks of using a virtual headset. But hey, those huge screens are a compromise I'm ready to make. See you in the next one. Okay, so...